Wall Street veteran Bernard Madoff has been arrested and charged with running a $50 billion Ponzi scheme.
Congress wants to know what caused the Enron meltdown.
Now, while the collective rage currently is focused on WorldCom,
Tyco CEO Dennis Kozlowski was convicted of looting hundreds of millions of dollars.
This is one of the biggest fraud cases ever.
Their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
Find out more on this week's episode of White Collars, Red Hands.
Welcome to season 13 of White Collars, Red Hands. This season, we're starting off with the great American love of game shows. For decades, Americans have loved game shows and gathered around their televisions to tune into daytime and nightly winnings. Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, The Price is Right, Supermarket Sweep, Pyramid, Family Feud, and so many more. Americans aren't the only ones who love a good game show. No. Today's story, we are going to be focusing on Charles Ingram, a contestant on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in the UK. Wait a minute. Isn't this show about white-collar crime? What did he do? Find out on this week's episode of White Collars, Red Hands.
Oh, man. Season 13. You ever come back to one of these and be like, did I forget how to podcast?
Yeah.
And you're just like, you 1,000-yard stare.
Well, is that how you feel about my intro? Before. Is that why you're saying that?
No. What are you talking about? No.
I did forget how to write an outline. I was like, wow, 2 weeks off. I don't remember how to do it.
You're like, when everything leaves your brain. Isn't it crazy how fast everything just leaves your brain?
Yeah.
You do something for like so long and you stop doing it for any amount of time. And I go on like a 3-day weekend and I come back. I'm like, what the fuck?
I know.
How do I do this?
Yeah.
I've been doing this for so long. How do I do any of this? It's scary.
It's true.
I'm an adult. Why is this so scary?
Being an adult is scary. But you know what's even scarier? White collar crime. Welcome back to season 13 of White Collars, Red Hands. This is...
I'm Kashan.
And I'm Nina. Today we are going to be talking about game shows. Kashan, what game show would you go on if you could go on any game show?
All right, this is probably not going to come as a surprise to you or anyone who listens to the show, but I really loved game shows growing up.
I did too.
Still do. I watched the GSN, Game Show Network.
Wow.
A lot. Just like an 80-year-old woman all the time, but I was 12, so it was definitely weird. My game show that I think I'd still crush at is a game called Lingo. You know Lingo?
No.
So it was Wordle before Wordle was a thing.
Oh.
They would give you the first letter to a word, and you had 5 chances to get it. And if you had a letter out of place, it'd be a yellow ball. And you and a partner would alternate guesses. And then if you didn't get it, the other team would get a chance to steal. And I would like crush that game. I think it's the only game show I've seen where I'd be like, yeah, I could do this. But now Wordle's so big. Nah, the people are better than me.
Yeah. I would love to go on Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune? I fucking suck at Wheel of Fortune.
I'm mid. I am very mid at Wheel of Fortune. Also, would love to do Family Feud. However, I don't trust my family to have good answers.
That's fair. That's why you get a group of friends.
True.
That you say is your family.
Well, now they're not even really getting families when you watch it now.
That's because the American family's broken and doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, God, here we go.
All right? The fundamentals of this country are ruined.
You sound like Ronald Reagan.
I sound like half the country.
You do.
And it's half the country that just happens to have like 17 children. So your family's fine, buddy.
Honestly, you know, like the Duggars could have 4 different... They could have 5 different groups and still be one family.
Dude,
they could all battle each other.
The all Duggar Family Feud.
Oh my God, we need to petition this.
Yeah, absolutely. There can't be kids there though, because that won. So.
Well, he's in jail.
Oh, well, there we go.
He's in jail for like 12 years.
Yeah, but without him, one's going to be short. Can he zoom in?
They have enough married people. A lot of the children are married.
All right.
On that note, let's get into today's episode. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? It was a game show that debuted in 1998 in the United Kingdom.
Was a game show. Is it not on anymore?
No, I think it is actually.
It is a game show.
It is a game show. Sorry. You know, I actually get this game show and The Weakest Link kind of confused sometimes.
They're so different. They're so different, though. That's so wild.
The lady was scared. That host scared me.
Yeah.
That redhead.
Dude, female Simon Cowell.
She was scary. She's like, you are the weakest link.
Goodbye. Yeah, they were just like, I don't know why, like, American TV, they were like, let's get just fucking the biggest douchebag British people. And then Americans were like, yeah, we love it when British people are mean to us.
I think it's our kink from 1776.
From the Revolutionary War. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're like, oh yeah, be mean to me.
You're like, we're flipping our trauma and we're owning it as a kink.
We're taking our power back.
Exactly.
Okay, so Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Its popularity skyrocketed, and at its peak, 1 in 3 households in the UK tuned into the show. The way that it worked was that contestants would answer a series of multiple choice trivia questions for cash prizes totaling up to $1 million, or in today's story, pounds. And yes, in the UK, they did compete for £1 million.
Whoa, that's like $1.2 million.
Yeah, no, it's true. As the questions would go on, they would get harder and harder. The first few questions are always extremely easy. Although it started off in the UK, its popularity increased and other countries adopted their own versions.
Including Slumdog Millionaire.
Yes. Well, we're getting to that because in 1999, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire aired in Australia, the United States, and Russia. In 2000, it aired in India, Italy, and the Philippines.
Dude, $1 million rupees does not go very far.
Do they win $1 million rupees, or is it, I think it's more?
I'm sure it's more.
I think it's what I read was like 48 million rupees.
Yeah, I'm about to say 100 million rupees is actually not that much money.
I'm not too familiar with the exchange of rupees to dollars.
I'm just saying, Who Wants to Be a 48 millionaire just doesn't have the same kind of ring to it, you know?
And then in 2010, Sri Lanka got its own version. In 2019, Nepal aired its first episode. And lastly, in Costa Rica, the show aired from 2013 to 2019, but then revamped and has been on the air since 2021. There are other versions too, but I'm not going to spend the next 10 minutes listing them all. I've already wasted too much of your time with these ones. If you haven't watched the show, this is how it works. The group of contestants from each episode do the first round, and that's called Fastest Finger First.
No. Oh, it was the early 2000s was such it was a more innocent time.
Yeah, I think I've played the Fastest Finger First game.
Yeah, and you always lose.
I'm not
Win?
the one
Lose?
I'm not the one.
Win? Lose.
I don't know.
Win?
I think someone else technically. We both win.
I don't know about that.
Sometimes I win,
Okay.
depending on who's playing.
All right, this thinly veiled innuendo needs to end. Please.
So, in the Fastest Finger First one, so they all like get asked a question, and then you have to put it. Okay, they get asked a question, and then they have 4 answers that could be the right, like 4 answers. And
Multiple choice, I think we're familiar.
well, no, because in the Fastest Finger one, it's like you have to put it in order.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like
Oh, you got to rank them.
yeah, so it's like what are the first 4 colors of the rainbow?
Easy.
And then it's like it says, they are red, orange,
yellow, green, of course.
yellow, green.
Yeah.
But then they'd be out of order, so it would be like green, blue, orange, yellow, or whatever. Anyways.
Yes.
And so then you have to
word picture.
And then you have to put them in order. You like push the button first and have to put them in order, okay? Anyways, and you have to get them correct. And then if you are the winner of Fastest Finger First, you get to move on to the hot seat. Now, and that's how you get to compete for the $1 million. Now, each country kind of has its own little version of that, so they're not exactly like that, but that's how it started in the UK. Now, when you are in the hot seat, obviously, like I said before, questions start easy. They progressively get harder to get you to the $1 million. Now, these questions can be from a variety of genres, all kinds of different categories. You can get questions about pop culture, and then you could get a question about math. There are 3 lifelines in which you can use in the game if you don't know the answer. These are phone a friend, which you will literally call a friend, which I think is always interesting because I'm like, how do you know they're going to answer?
You tell them you're my phone a friend.
Oh, I guess that's
and
fair.
You say, this is when I'm going. Who wants to be a millionaire? Be available.
Okay, that's fair. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
I just thought we were calling people randomly.
No, you think the show is just like, what's his number? Do we have a cell phone? Let's look up the person's number. No.
Then you have 50-50, which reduces the 4 possible answers to a question to 2 possible answers.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
And then ask the audience, which is also exactly what it sounds like. Once you use those up, you're on your own. There are 2 safety nets in place in the game. So if you get an answer wrong, you won't lose all of your money. You'll get a certain amount of money. That is much less. The goal is to answer as many questions as you can correctly, and then you hope you get to $1 million. Now, as I said previously, the UK was obsessed with this show. And so was the man who our story centers around today, Charles Ingram. Now, Charles Ingram and his wife, Diana. Yes, Charles and Diana.
That's a reference for all you people who were alive in the 80s. What's up?
Everybody knows who Charles and Diana were. I wasn't alive in the 80s.
I don't know about everyone.
A lot of people know.
I don't know about everyone. I think we're even a little old. Talk to a 12.
Have you never?
Talk to a fucking 16-year-old. They're not going to know what the fuck you're talking about.
If they've watched The Crown, they do.
Yeah, 16-year-olds watching The Crown.
It's a good show.
Yeah, for 30-year-olds, Nina. Not for 16-year-olds. That's the whole point I'm making. It's fine. It's whatever. It's fine.
Well, the 2 of them were obsessed with getting on the show. And it was said by friends that Diana was actually smarter than Charles, which seems to be a pattern with couples named Charles and Diana. Now, Charles Ingram was a really smart guy. He joined the British Army in 1987. He was then promoted to captain in 1990 and then to major in 1995. He was sent to Bosnia in 1999 for peacekeeping duties. He got his master's degree in corporate management in August of 2000. Now, like I said, Charles and Diana, obsessed with being on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And they made this a family affair. Charles and Diana actually went on a special couples edition of the show, but they didn't make it past the fast finger first round. He should have practiced more.
That sounds like they need to go home and do some work.
Yeah.
Get those fingers riled up.
Phalanges stronger.
Something, some finger
You know
curls.
what I mean? Yeah, you do want to summon a genie, not stuff a chicken. Anyways,
Is that how you summon a genie?
I mean, I would summon.
Why are you tickling a lamp? You rub the. I've never seen anyone be like Aladdin in the movie. Didn't go be like, oh genie, and fucking slightly caress the tip of the lamp with 2 fingers, right?
Stick it into the hole.
Into the lamp? That's not how you do it. If you ever find a genie in a lamp, you're gonna be fucked because you're not gonna figure out how to get it out, man.
So anyways, later Diana went on the show, as well as her brother, and both of them won 32,000 pounds. Ingram wanted his turn in the hot seat. To get ready for the show, Ingram practiced with Diana for 20 minutes a day with a homemade fastest finger first machine.
Oh, an iPad? Great.
iPads weren't around. This was 2001.
It's just pieces of paper cut out. Then he's like,
something like that. I don't even remember what that machine looked like.
I think it was just like a computer screen.
I thought it was
right?
like a clicker.
I don't remember. It's too old.
Anyways, that practicing, it paid off. Ingram won his fastest finger first round and found himself in the hot seat. However, his army smarts did not translate to the hot seat very well. He used 2 lifelines early on in the competition. His first lifeline was used when he was asked about a British soap opera. Charles had never seen the show and had to ask the audience to help him with the question. His second lifeline was used on the question, which part of the United Kingdom could the River Foyle be found? He used his phone a friend for that one. And fun fact, River Foyle is found in Northern Ireland.
Great. You can wait to never use that piece of information again in my life.
He ended the first day of filming with £4,000 and only the 50-50 lifeline left. Producers knew that he wouldn't last very long because typically contestants that used lifelines early on do not have very successful runs.
Fair. Don't need to see the statistics on that one to know it's true.
No. Yeah, I mean, he had only gotten to he only left with £4,000. That's only 3 or 4 questions.
I was about to say, it's what, 5?
Yeah, maybe.
Around there.
Yeah, he didn't make it very far with using all those lifelines. Now, Diana was just as bloodthirsty for the £1 million as Charles was. She was extremely disappointed in how her husband was doing in the competition and reached out to a friend for some help. She reached out to Tequin Wittick. That sounds like a fake name, but it's not. A friend of the Ingrams who was a college lecturer and was also scheduled to be on the show. They came up with a plan. Tequin was seated near Charles when he was on stage. And they literally were competing at the same time. Charles was in the hot seat, and then Tequin was going to be in the next group to go up for the fastest finger first. So they were in the studio at the same time.
So is it the same? I don't know if you know this. Is it the same setup where you have the main person in the middle, and then all the people who might come up are in a circle around them?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, because that's how the American one was. The person in the middle.
How the British one was?
And then all the people were on the outside. Wait, is this the American? No, he's British, right?
No, he's British.
Yeah.
I know. So I think it is a little bit different because I know that Tequin was in the audience next to Diana.
Okay.
Yeah, and they were near Charles. They were kind of behind him a little bit.
Okay, so maybe they're just in the audience, but they don't have that circle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they came up with a plan. Tequin was seated near Charles when he was on stage. Whenever Tequin knew the answer to the question, he would cough to indicate the right answer. Tequin was able to cough softly enough that it wouldn't be caught by the mics, but Ingram would still be able to hear him. The next day, Ingram was back in the studio to continue his run for the £1 million prize. The host asked him if he was going to be approaching the game any differently this time around because there's 2 days of filming. Charles said that he was going to trust himself more because he had talked himself out of answers that he already knew, even though he made it clear that he had no clue what the answers were. Despite producers thinking that he would end his run early, Ingram started answering questions correctly. It was a red flag to producers because Ingram was taking really bold risks and completely changed his strategy in the game. One question that Ingram got was who had a hit UK album with Born to Do It, which was released in 2000. Now,
I don't know.
I don't know either.
And neither does he.
Neither does he, and neither did Tequin Wittick.
Rough.
He didn't know the answer to that one either.
Pop culture is not big amongst the educated types, I guess.
Well, and they were both in their 40s by that point.
Oh, so they're just old.
Yeah.
They're fuddy-duddies.
Mm-hmm. This would be like my dad going on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and them asking him a question about One Direction. He would not be able to answer it.
Dude, if there was a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire for dads that was just World War II trivia, though,
you would win?
They'd love it. I don't think I know that much about World War II
just dads
trivia.
would love it.
I'm not that kind of person. You know those kind of people.
I do
people
know those
in the
type
audience.
of,
you know those kind of people.
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of person.
There was a guy I went to school with who was obsessed with World War II, but then we found out he was autistic, so that does make a lot of sense because that was his hyperfixation.
Because trains.
Well, yeah, because trains.
Yeah.
So Tequin, no one knew the answer. Well, not no one, but Tequin and Ingram both did not know the answer to this question. So Ingram was forced to use his final lifeline, 50-50. And the final 2 answers were A1, which is a British boy band, and Craig David. Now, Ingram claimed that he had never heard of Craig David before, but he kept going back and forth with his answer. He was going to go with A1, but his wife Diana became restless and coughed a no before he gave his answer. Ingram guessed Craig David, his explanation being that his gut usually led him astray, so he was going to go with what he felt like was wrong. And then he got it correct. He also got stumped on the 500,000 pound question, which was, Baron Haussmann is known for his planning of which city? Berlin and Paris were both options. Ingram first thought that it would have been Berlin since Haussmann sounded like a German name.
Fair.
But after much debate, he finally admitted that there's a possibility that it's Paris. He locked in his final answer with Paris and advanced to the £1 million question. For his £1 million question, he was asked, a number 1 followed by 100 zeros is known by what name?
How do I know the answer to
I
this?
knew you were going to know the answer.
Well, honestly, all of us should know the answer to this, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's something, maybe at this time, it wasn't a household knowledge, but now you at least all know the word that is the answer.
You know the word. I didn't
to this question.
Okay, so I didn't know the answer.
Yeah.
But I know the word.
Yeah. I even know the word for this number raised to the power of itself, which I will tell you after you give us the answer. I'm a nerd.
Ingram thought that the answer was nanimal, but after mulling over the question, he decided to go with
a Google.
A Google, which is not spelled like Google. It's spelled Googol. This answer won him the £1 million jackpot. All right, would you like to tell us what Google's
a Google
powered to a Google is?
A Google to the power of a Google is called a Googleplex. You're welcome.
Okay.
It's not even near the largest number that's out there, though. There's so many big numbers. There's actually a competition every year that's like the big number competition. It's crazy.
Wow, I bet those people get like so much pussy.
Yeah, fucking math pussy. It's out there.
I feel like math. Never mind, I'm not even going to say that. Math pussy's hairy.
Who cares, man?
I guess that's true.
Who cares, man?
The bush is back.
All right. I'm just trying to fucking multiply, man. Right? Me plus you equals sex. Okay.
Well, Ingram was victorious, but producers knew that everything wasn't kosher. And after he got off the stage, Ingram's hair, clothes, and shoes were searched.
Damn.
He was told that this was the regular procedure after a contestant wins. They were originally looking for a wire because Ingram's brother-in-law was seen outside of the studio on his phone during filming, which is forbidden. They thought that his brother-in-law was potentially feeding him answers via the cell phone. The show's presenter, Chris Tarrant, went into Ingram's dressing room with a celebratory champagne to congratulate the contestants. Ingram turned down the champagne, saying that he had to drive home.
What a stick in the mud.
Yeah. When Tarrant left the dressing room, she could hear the Ingrams arguing because Diana was in the dressing room as well, which she found odd considering that they had just won £1 million. What are they fighting about?
I don't know. I definitely know some couples that would be fighting at that time.
That's true.
But that's whatever.
When Ingram left the set, the production company was tipped off by producers. So the people who were producing the show tipped off the production company.
Oh, okay.
That they were suspicious of cheating and told them to delay the check of the winnings. Other contestants reported that they also thought that Ingram had cheated and had noticed the coughs being consistent with the correct answers. Now, while they were filming, there was a producer who was catching these coughs, but they couldn't determine whether or not in the moment if it was being used to cheat or not. Mm-hmm. And they weren't going to stop filming. They noticed the coughing, but they didn't want to stop filming just in case this person was legitimately coughing.
Fair.
What
if he just has a cold, Myron? You can't go out there.
Oh, bloody hell. He's just coughing again.
Yeah, I forgot they were British. Yeah, that's the guy who runs Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. He's an old, wizened British fisherman.
Yes. You never know.
Just let him do what he wants.
While reviewing the recording, it was found that there was a connection between Ingram's answers and the coughs coming from Tequin Wittig, except for the one cough that came from Diana Ingram. It was determined that Ingram did indeed cheat. Producers called Ingram to tell him that he would not be able to receive the £1 million prize, and that police were informed and that there was going to be an investigation that was going to unfold. Ingram obviously disputed the fact that he did any wrongdoing, but he also was not as upset on the phone as he should have been for a man that just lost 1 million pounds. Charles Ingram, Diana Ingram, and Tequin Whittick were all charged with procuring the execution of a valuable security by deception, which didn't sound like it made sense to me, but it's Britain.
I'm about to say, I know nothing about British law, but this sounds just as fucking hoity-toity and fancy as I would fucking expect it to be. Excuse me, sir. You're charged with procuring the execution of a valuable security by deception by Her Majesty's court. We shall now take you there in fancy carriage. And then, like, a horse and buggy pulls up. I'm assuming that's what it is. I don't know. I never been
Something
there.
like that.
Yeah. And they serve you tea in prison.
No, I think you get chained in the basement
But they also give you tea.
while giving you tea.
Hey, prisoners, we'll unlock your shackles right now so we can give you just a spot of tea as it is 2 p.m.
They took him to the Tower of London, nailed him to the wall. Because people were like shackled to the wall in there.
Not nailed, though. Jesus.
Well, their shackles were nailed.
Or not Jesus.
That's where Anne Boleyn was beheaded.
Nice.
I saw it.
You saw it?
Yeah, I went to the Tower of London.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Haven't been there. They still have a guard there, though, I guess.
Yes, they do.
And he gets like this nice room. I saw it on TikTok. It's got a big
And then
oil painting.
they've got
in there.
they've got ravens there that they feed with flesh. But of animals.
Why?
I don't remember.
Great.
I could look it up.
I'm glad you went on that tour. You seem to remember so much.
I
All you
remember,
is
I
Anne Boleyn.
visually remember a lot.
Great.
The history, not so much.
Great. If I ever need to...
I highly recommend you go,
to
though.
remember what the inside of the Tower in London looks like. I'll definitely get you on the phone.
And then, because Sean's going to roll his eyes when I say this and not believe me, but it's the second time I felt like spirits somewhere.
Great.
I know you don't believe in spirits, but I do.
Great.
My chest hurt.
I
when
believe
I was
in
in
it. Feels like my spirit's leaving my body right now listening to you say shit like that.
Okay.
If that makes you feel any better.
This is exactly
Like
the...
my life force fucking draining from me.
All right. Well, that's exactly
Slowly.
the response I thought you were going to give me. So there's that. I knew you were going to be like, that's bullshit.
At least I'm predictable.
Yeah. You don't like...
Consistent, I'd like to say.
So they all went, they all got in trouble and they all went to trial. The trial lasted for 4 weeks. Charles Ingram, Diana Ingram, and Tequin Whittick were all convicted on April 2003. They all got what?
It's just like kind of funny, right? Like
Yeah.
like they cheated at a fucking game show, and it's a month-long trial.
I thought it was a little ridiculous.
It's kind of funny.
No, it is. It definitely is. They all got prison sentences. Charles and Diana were both sentenced to 18 months, and Tequin was sentenced to 12 months.
Jesus, that's a long time.
I know. These jail sentences were suspended for 2 years, and then none of them ever served any jail time.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah. I thought that was a little much, for cheating the game show.
Yeah, I mean, like...
People, kill people.
Yeah, I mean, like, who's the victim here, right?
Right.
Like, they didn't even give him the money. So, I don't know.
Now, they did, delay airing his episode for a really long time.
They aired it eventually?
They ended up airing it.
I bet people actually watched the fuck out of it, too.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, can you hear the coughs?
Yeah. Can you hear it?
They're like, it's like watching the Astros in the 2017 World Series. Am I right?
I don't know what you're referring to.
Baseball players get that. Oh, they banged a trash can to cheat.
Oh.
It's a whole thing. I'm not going to get into it. But
is it like when Tom Brady deflated the footballs?
As far as it was cheating, yeah.
Yeah.
But
wait, so they were pitching and then somebody banged a trash can?
Yeah, so they were. So if we're gonna get into it, they were using a camera to steal signs, so they would know if it was a fastball or an off-speed pitch, and if it was off-speed or if it was a fastball, I don't remember which one. Someone would hit a trash can in the dugout, so you'd hear a boom boom, and then the person at bat would either know okay, this is gonna be a fastball or it's gonna be slower.
Oh.
So.
Cheaters.
Yeah.
They were each fined £15,000 and ordered to pay £10,000 towards prosecution costs. The judge then ordered the Ingrams to pay additional costs, which left the Ingrams repaying £115,000.
No way they have that much money.
No, they don't. And during the trial, Ingram claimed that the recordings of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire were unrepresentative of what I heard and unfairly manipulated. When it was Wittick's turn to go on to trial, he claimed that his coughing was caused by hay fever and a dust allergy, and that it was a coincidence that he coughed on the correct answers. However, Wittick did get his own turn in the hot seat on the show because he was there at the same time. He did get to go on, and when he competed, his cough suddenly went away. Wittick claimed this was because he had multiple glasses of water before he took the hot seat. And he did get a doctor to write a note about this and say that that was legit.
You can get doctors to do anything, man.
Yeah, that's true. Wittick himself did not do very well on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and was eliminated on the 8,000-pound question. After being found guilty, Ingram was ordered to resign from his position in the military as major after 16 years of service. This did not affect his pension benefits.
Oh, so he just had to retire early.
Yeah.
Okay.
However, he had to retire early, but then he did have to start collecting his pension early.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. And he also owes 116,000 pounds now. So he probably didn't have like a lot of money.
No, although some of Diana's fines were waived after the Ingrams made an appeal. This case does seem pretty cut and dry. However, there are people who thought that Ingram could be innocent. Journalist John Ronson was one of those people.
Name, John Ronson.
John Ronson.
God, okay.
He didn't pick his own name.
Well, he should. He should change it.
That's true. Ronson attended every day of the trial and noticed that every time the word cough was mentioned, someone would inevitably cough. It was argued that coughs could be caused by unconscious triggers. He argued that Wittick unknowingly coughed when he heard the correct answer and that it was involuntary. This angle wasn't really investigated, and everyone was still guilty.
I mean, it's a little bit of a reach.
I agree. I think it's bullshit, but that's just what he said.
Also, it must be nice to be a reporter sometimes. You get paid for every day for 4 weeks, just like show up to this shit.
Yeah. And then literally make shit up because it's so boring. He's like, they coughed every time the word cough was said.
Coughs could be unconscious. They're contagious like yawns.
Yep.
Cough. See what I mean?
After the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire scandal, the Ingrams had a really hard time staying out of the courtroom. In 2003, the couple was charged with 2 counts of deception after there was an insurance policy claim that there was a burglary at their home. Now, the Ingrams did have a legitimate burglary that cost them about £30,000. The insurance company figured out, however, that the policy had been purchased only a few weeks before the burglary. It was also noted that Charles had a habit of forgetting to declare his insurance claims. Ingram was not convicted and walked free, but the media did nickname him Major Fraud.
Major Fraud?
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Good.
Good job, British media.
Now, although Ingram still had his pension with the army, he did lose his job, and that meant that the family lost their housing because the army was paying for this really nice house for them. And with everything that was going on, the Ingrams were forced to declare bankruptcy. You'd think that Ingram's problems were finally over, but he did cut off 3 of his toes with a lawnmower in 2010. So now not only is he broke, but he is toeless.
Oh, man.
He said his big toe went flying.
How do you even do that?
I forget exactly how to have it.
Run over your own foot?
So I think what happened...
Did he pull it backwards onto his foot?
I think that something happened and it went back. I don't think he did it on, he wasn't doing it on purpose, but he was pushing and then it hit something and jumped back. And he didn't have on sandals, but he had on a rubber shoe. So it didn't really it didn't protect his foot. And then it was funny. It said that when he saw his big toe, over there, he was just oh no.
You know, that's actually probably exactly what I would think.
Yeah. Oh no.
You could say you'd react however way, but I feel like one, you wouldn't notice at first, and you'd be like, oh shit.
Well, I think your body would go into shock. That would hurt so bad, and there would be so much blood.
Like, I literally think my first thought would be like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
It seems to be when something goes wrong. It's usually the first thing. It slips both into my mind and out of my mouth.
After the scandal, the Ingrams did piggyback off their notoriety and appeared on other game shows such as The Games, The Weakest Link, and Wife Swap.
They were on Wife Swap?
They were on Wife Swap.
That's not really a game show.
Well, it was another show.
Yeah.
It was a show.
Yeah.
He also wrote 2 books.
How did he milk it into 2? I get 1, but what's your sequel to the man who
I guess part 1 is the game show, and then part 2 is the aftermath.
You can't leave it on a cliffhanger at the end of a book, at the end of the first book. No one gives that much of a fuck. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever.
Tequin Whittick, he actually lost his job being a professor. He was forced to resign, and then he ended up trademarking his name because someone tried to make a cough syrup named Whittick.
That's also funny.
It's super funny.
That's good.
I think it's hilarious.
Are British people funny?
Yes, British people are funny.
I know.
It's just a different type of humor.
Yeah. No, I fucking love British humor, which should probably also
I was
be
just going to
obvious.
say that's not surprising
Should
whatsoever.
probably be obvious. Oh my God. It's
Yeah.
so funny. James A. Caster. I love that guy. He's so funny.
Yeah. Well, that is the story of Charles Ingram and how he cheated Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. When we are young, the drive to win the game is always strong. Competition is fierce between family and friends, and there's always a temptation to cheat. I myself have cheated in Monopoly more times than I could count. However, when the love of the game goes so far that you have to cheat in front of millions of people, maybe you've gone too far. Charles Ingram learned the hard way that cheaters always lose. Ingram had a successful life, a family, a well-respected job, and all of that was lost when he decided that he could cheat the system and win the £1 million prize. I guess that Ingram didn't really weigh his costs, did he?
You knew there had to be a pound joke.
You
How do you cheat at Monopoly?
steal money.
Oh, so you're the banker? You make
Yeah.
yourself the banker and then you just take money out of the bank?
Or like when people get tired and quit, you steal their money.
If they quit, they're already done. All you had was fucking persistence at that point.
Yeah, but like I remember in high school one time we were playing Monopoly in math class. I don't even know why. And
You do math in
yeah,
Monopoly.
Yeah. And then Zach, what was the fuck's that guy's name?
You can make it up.
Well,
no one knows.
His name was Zach. And Zach Patrick. That was his name. Zach Patrick was like, I quit, and he got up, and then I like stole his money. So then I had more money than everybody else.
That's just called capitalism, actually. You were playing Monopoly correctly.
Actually, I was playing Monopoly.
You were playing
correctly.
Monopoly correctly.
I took it from the poor people.
Yeah. You take it from the people that quit. Mm-hmm. And
I crushed them.
Yeah.
I crushed them with my big heel. I shattered the glass ceilings while wearing a skirt so they can look up it while I break the glass ceiling. Haven't you heard that before?
No.
Oh,
No, I have not.
I think it's a sexist joke.
What?
They're trying to, because you're like on the glass ceiling, right? And then you crush it with your heel, but you're wearing a skirt so they can look up your skirt while you do it.
You know, Willy Wonka, famous feminist, he broke a glass ceiling. So,
He had a great glass elevator.
and he went through the glass ceiling.
I'm not going to lie, great glass elevator, not as good as the Chocolate Factory.
Charlie, we'll be cut to ribbons. That fucking scene. Don't you see, Charlie? We're going so fast. That's what Grandpa Joe says. We'll be cut to ribbons.
I don't remember that part really. I mean, I remember them like shooting out,
Yeah.
but I don't remember anything they say.
Yeah. Well, that was one.
I have a very dear friend of mine who thinks Gene Wilder is so hot.
He was okay then.
No, he wasn't.
He's dead now, so I probably want to fuck him now. Because he's dead.
Yeah.
And like long dead, so he's like just bones.
No, hasn't been long dead. He's been dead for less than 2 years.
Yeah, so bones.
He didn't decompose that quickly.
Well, I guess maybe if he was
They
embalmed.
put that stuff in you.
He was embalmed.
Embalmed, yeah. Formaldehyde.
I don't think they do that anymore, but yeah.
Oh.
Because it gives you like hella cancer.
Well, you're dead. Who cares?
The people who do it, Nina. The people have to be there. It doesn't just magically pop into you. They gotta fucking cut open your veins and stick fucking rods and shit in you and fucking pump it into you.
Put rods in you and pump it into you.
Disgusting. Oh my God. We're talking about literally embalming a body and you're still turning it sexual. It's your gift.
It is.
Honestly.
It is. It is.
It's your gift.
It is. And you know what else is my gift? Promoting
Outros, please.
Outros. Yep, absolutely. Thank you so much for listening to our first episode of season 13.
Lucky number 13, baby.
Yeah, baby. If you've been with us for this long, thank you. Thank you so much. If you want to continue supporting us, you can do it by following us on our social medias. We're on facebook.com/whitecollarsredhands. We are on Twitter at whitecollarspod. We are on Instagram at whitecollars_redhands. We are on TikTok at whitecollarsredhands. We are also on YouTube. You can watch the episode. Look at our beautiful faces. At whitecollarsredhands. Subscribe to that, please. We need more subscribers. Another free way that you can support us is by telling a friend. That's a great way to get word of mouth. We love word of mouth. Another free way that you can support us is by leaving a review either on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. If you want an unfree way to support us, you could head over to our website, whitecollarsredhands.com, click on our merch tab. It'll take you over to TeePublic and you can buy whatever you want with our logo on it. Another way that you can support us is if you hear of an episode or you hear of a story that you think we should do an episode on, go ahead and shoot us an email. It's whitecollarsredhands@gmail.com, and we will try to cover that story next season. And I think that's it.
Oh, we also, our 3-year podiversary is coming up in October.
Hell yeah, it is.
So make sure you stay tuned. If you're listening all the way till the end of this, we'll do this at the beginning of the episode next time so that we can actually get everyone to know this. But if you're here, you get it early. So watch out. We're going to be doing something special for our 3-year podiversary.
Yeah, well, Kashan said he'd get sushi, so.
You're not going to let me live it down. You're not going to let me live it down. We can do it a little bit later. I'm stopping for Thanksgiving. So like 3 weeks later.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. He's got to be keto.
Yeah, I know. Also, hi, Mom. She listens to the end.
Hi.
She'll love that.
That you're not doing keto or that you are keto?
No, that I said hi.
Oh.
What? Weirdo. Also, everyone else that's here, if you want to pretend to be my mom, I guess that's fine too. If you needed that today. Like if your kids don't talk to you anymore and you really need someone to say hi, Mom, to you today, that can also be for you, I guess.
Well,
that's it.
Well, thank you so much for listening. And we will see you next time on another episode of White Collars,
Red Hands.